Crosby from the corner, twisting and turning inside out. Beautiful move, trying to get the shot on. He holds, he shoots, he scores! Absolutely!
The pitch, high fly ball center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall. Goal!
Roethlisberger gives him a lot of room here. Juju Smith-Schuster off to the races inside the 30, the 20, the 10.
Oh,
We're on.
live TV. Welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studios right here in Bethel Park. Thank you for watching the show. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and all the way from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between, city of Pittsburgh. People claim us that they watch it, so thank you. And thank you for the likes on Facebook, 6,922. We got boosted up by a few.
22, my favorite number.
That's why I had to share it today, because in honor of 2/2/22, we hit 6922 because I asked a few new people to like my page, because we're trying to hit 7K, but we're not doing it. It's a struggle this year. For the last year, it's been a struggle since we hit 6,900. But I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Smoking Jim Frazier on the 2-2s. Chip Hayner, Nick Callis, works camera, radio station, the fan, and co-host here.
Television.
Is that what this is?
know
We're on
Smokin' Jim did.
BPTV, and Smoking Jim knows when we get introduced to people, they go, oh, you do a show, and we tell them we're on public access TV, or I would, because Smoking Jim would just laugh that I'm telling him that. And they go, what station is it on? I go, we're on public access TV, Comcast 7 and Verizon 32. And I even had some friends say, don't say TV, because I guess the guy, I won't mention his name, good friend of mine, I guess he thinks people are dumb. So I said television right in front of him to a nice lady, and she goes, what radio station is that? I rest my case. All right, we got some promos here. Sorry to get off on a tangent, but Smoking Jim, here's a story. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings about 9 years ago in Monroeville. They had jerseys from Gateway. And I told him back then, and I'm reviving it today since we got 2-2. And I said, I didn't see your number. I don't know what number it was. And he goes, 2-2. I go, there were Gateway numbers in there, but yours wasn't there. So I go, did you even play for Gateway? He goes, oh, machine.
No, what he meant, what does a ballerina wear?
Ooh.
Chip, you're brilliant.
Ouch.
That was perfect. All right, let's see A2 on this. Bill Means, welcome back. Amy from the bakery at Giant Eagle, hello. Thanks for watching.
Twinkle toes.
Look what A2 did. We got distracted with some of the people since they showed up on my feed. Thanks to Nick. Olive Oil's Pizzeria sponsors our XL Pepperoni Pizza, our steak hoagie cut into 6 slices, and they have great Italian food. They're at Hillcrest Shopping Center, and they have all kind of great desserts, great salads, you name it. And check them out, 412-831-1900. Right there at Hillcrest. They had a little slow time there. My man Sam there gave me 4 handfuls of pistachio nuts to eat because I love pistachios. Smoking Jim doesn't know what they are, but they're in a shell. And I just wanted to share thanks to Sam there. Next up, A2 again on it. And just so you guys know, A1 switched up with A2 or A2 switched up with A1 because now they're on opposite cameras this week. They're trying to mess with me, but I still focused on it. We end each show with Stay Joey Strong. There's Joey who had a dreaded brain cancer, DIPG, and he would have been 16 this year. and it's just a shame. He's been dead since he's 8 years old, and that's him before DIPG and after DIPG. They started the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. You can donate money there. You can donate time. As I mentioned each week, their 5K 1 mile superhero run is in September at the high school. It's their biggest fundraiser of the year. They donate money and wear superhero stuff, so check it out. These guys are giving so many signals that anybody else would be distracted, but we won't mention it. When I tell Ryan to shut off Smoking Jim's Mike and Nick, you'll know what happened. That's a precursor, Ryan. You got to look up precursor because Smoking Jim doesn't have any idea what that even is. We're getting close. All right, look what A2 did. Bang! Centered. Smoking Jim, I trimmed my nails. Jim Ellenbogen, hello. We just have wild-caught guests. He always kids me about my dinners being wild-caught. So we got wild-caught Jim, we got wild-caught Chip, wild-caught Nick, and I'm not wild-caught. 2600 South Park Road. That's where the 1905 schoolhouse is there in Bethel Park, been remodeled from top to bottom. They do great things there, even got an antique flagpole that's put in there, and the old bell is back at the 1905 school. They've redone it. They have my favorite tea shop, Reginald's Coffee. Get my green tea there, and friends of mine keep telling me, they said, hey, we heard you on TV. We want to co-sign. They're the best coffee in Bethel Park. Forget Starbucks. Oh, did I mention that? Check them out. Bethel Park Historical Society. All right, another 501c3 with a great story. A2 gave me the thumbs up. Bang.
Zoom!
Look at that, centered perfectly. Look at those nails, Smoking Jim. Always be smiling. The B stands for Bennett. The poor 16-and-a-half-year-old died after a second kidney transplant that Dean, his dad, got for him. And Kristen, his mother, and Dean started Always Be Smiling. And they asked me if I could get them up to 1,000 likes. Well, through some magic on Facebook, we got it before December 11th. And people are still liking it. To all my friends that are accepting those likes for Always Be Smiling, it's for a great cause. They help other children and families that are going through kidney transplants and kidney disease with dialysis and expenses. So they raise money so you can donate as little as $1 and help other people in our area. And I know people want to do that during these trying times, especially with people with bad health. Speaking of bad health, a friend of mine told me to call this nice lady, Kathleen Miller. She has kidney disease, and she asked if I would try to get her a kidney donor. We may have got one for her. Not sure if it was us or somebody she knew. And when her kidney function goes down below 15, she will get a kidney transplant. And she thanked us for putting that up every week. And Kathleen, I hope you're doing well in 2022. All right, what can A2 do on this one? Uh-oh, he gave the signal. We're good. One thing about these guys in the studio, they're very quiet. And Smoking Jim didn't mention the swag that A2's wearing. We have what's called a whiteout. And Smoking Jim, in honor of the whiteout, has a white mask.
I heard he got a white car as well.
Well, a little side note, this young man let me see his brand new 1995 white Corvette.
Wow.
He even started it up, laid some tire in the lot, and it was perfect. I'm just exaggerating and embellishing. He didn't lay any tire, but it sounds powerful.
Wow.
And it looks great.
Vroom,
Whoever
vroom.
had the car, garage kept. It looks so much better than Smoking Jim's damaged vehicle that he could have saved $600 if he would have had the accident before he bought it.
Could have found him a dent.
Yeah. Right, but what Smoking Jim, I got to share this for A2 and Smoking Jim. Do you know what kind of body is on a Corvette? Chip can tell you.
Fiberglass.
Okay. Do you know if you had a dent in there, what it would do to the body?
You save a lot of money.
Smoking Jim,
Shocked.
you ever see fiberglass get hit?
No.
Okay, then your statement doesn't hold any water. All right, I want you for BPTV so you can put up with nonsense like this. We're a little bit off the sports trail, but I had to do it. Tell them Uncle Al wants you to be a volunteer like A2, A1, Ryan in the control room, and who'd I forget? Nick.
Oh, yeah.
He's pointing at everybody because for some reason a couple weeks ago this year they started pointing at each other. From A1 to Smoking Jim to Nick.
Oh, I was doing your pose, your Uncle Sam pose. Like,
No, I got
want-
it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the camera's not on you.
That's why I pointed at the middle one.
It's still not on you.
Ryan, cut.
Here, look. Just look up.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
And Nick is one of the sharpest guys that we've ever had here. Really? So I want to explain to you that Smoking Jim's actually a volunteer. Now, you understand, he said he graduated from Gateway. For all you Bethel Park students that are doing great with like 4.0, 4.5,
I weaved baskets underwater.
he couldn't even get to 1/4 of what you guys have. So please come to our studio, run the cameras. Maybe you can get an opportunity when Smoking Jim doesn't miss unless he's in a car accident or has to get quadruple heart bypass. Or he starts walking like a brother that's crippled where he gets hospitalized with an unknown ailment where they had plastic casts on him and IVs. Luckily, he showed me a picture, but guess what I heard when I asked, what's wrong with you? That's what I heard. Other than that, we want you at the BPTV studio, 412-831-3304. You can be just like Smoking Jim. All right, last little promo here. A2's on fire. That vet was fired up too. It was very nice. Thank you for letting me check it out.
Vroom, vroom.
I got to see the interior. There wasn't a bullet hole in there. Like
That's
Smoking
wonderful.
Jim. Yeah,
Congratulations.
Smoking Jim told us he was at a drive-by shooting. None of us believed him because you've heard this stuff for years. So Nick and I went out and saw
Saw it.
holes in his fender.
Yeah. That was before the accident, though.
Way before. Way before. All right, go to bpcf.org. We have money for you from $100 to $5,000 in grant money. I'm a trustee on the board. Get your application. Every 2 months we have a meeting, the last Thursday of the month. So check it out. Bring your application. And if you do something good in Bethel Park, just don't talk to Smoking Jim first. All right, we do What's on Your Mind. Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Time out. Okay, I got another green marker.
you got to see Levine.
I fired it.
I tell you what, I got a white bone to pick with all you guys.
Oh,
Disclaimer,
boy.
whatever Smoking Jim says that may seem racist to you is his own opinion. He started 10 minutes before our show. I don't know what bothered him today, except Chip's wearing a black mask and Smoking Jim has a white mask. Go ahead,
I
Smoking.
tell you what, man.
What is it?
I'm working with some of the greatest technical people in the world, the captain. We look at the white Nikes that Tony got on, Ryan. We got Nick. I'm excuse Chip on this one. I've been trying to get on YouTube for years. Could never get on YouTube. Everybody was like my page, subscribe. I couldn't get on. A black man during Black History Month, Luther Dupree, took 5 seconds to get me signed up on the YouTube. Now I can subscribe and like everything. And you guys couldn't do it.
I'm mad at you.
Hold it. Time out.
Pick me, please.
No, I just have to
I'm
share
on
this.
YouTube.
I'm older supposedly than Smoking Jim. I did not work 18 years for. Did you ever hear of a technology company? Let me spell it out. IBM. I rest my case. I was on YouTube how long have I been on Facebook? 11 years or something. And I was on it.
I wish you'd have showed me how.
I showed you
But I'm on
LinkedIn.
now.
I showed you LinkedIn and Facebook and some other
I
things.
never
Yeah,
had
why
to
did
do-
you? There's a certain sports show that's not Pittsburgh Sportsline that went on YouTube for the first time because of my efforts. I don't know why you didn't ask.
Well, I didn't know, but I
He went to Gateway. That's
Hey,
why. He didn't know what to ask.
I want to congratulate my man Nick. He texted me to listen to him on the Fan. And I tell you what, Nick, you did a great job. He was on with Dorian Dickerson, and I didn't know who was the white guy. Dorian Dickerson sound whiter than Nick. Hell of me to talking machine. You know I hate black guys that talk white. But
No,
hey, this
no.
is what's on my mind. And it'll be real quick.
No, he got interrupted.
Go ahead.
You said you don't like black people that act white. Now you're saying sound white?
Well,
That's
he
more
he
racist
had
than
to
the first one.
He had to practice to get that down, Pat. But hey,
Well, that's why we got to disclaim everything.
here's what's on my mind.
Hold it, before you go, guess what number Bill Means was?
Number 22.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew there was a reason why I like Bill Means. Bill Means business. But here's what's on my mind. Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Coach Tomlin for going out to get Flores. I think that he's a great defensive mind. Defenses win championships. I tell you what, the Pittsburgh Steelers got a chance now to get that defense together. Jerry O's a great linebacker coach. We got Flores now. I think Terrell Austin can do very well. And we got the greatest Pittsburgh
Hold it, one
Steelers,
interruption. Who's the defensive coordinator?
Terrell Austin.
Thank you.
And I think that, and the Steelers got the greatest player in their history, T.J. Watt. So it's time to get after it. I like the hire.
I got to ask you one question. How is he going to make T.J. Watt better?
Pardon me?
Did anybody understand my question?
That
Can
was
you
pretty
replay
straightforward.
that?
What? Well, one. Well,
I knew he heard me. I
the
was
first
hoping
thing-
Brian would
well,
just
the first
burst it
thing he
out.
got to do, him and Mika Fitzpatrick hate each other. That's why he traded Mika to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So
And we're thankful.
Hopefully, after practice, it won't be Mika versus Juwan Howard.
Can't say-
So that's the one thing. But hey,
Another race.
Al Levine, the talking
I
machine.
don't know how you answered my question.
Hey,
He didn't
We-
answer.
Can
Yes.
I repeat it?
when you got coaches that can make the team better, that'll make everybody better. T.J. Watt's already there. It's time to make
So he
everybody
won't
else
make
better.
T.J. Watt better, and he's a linebacker coach. Okay. I
And
rest my
that's what's
case.
on my mind.
Thank you. Glad we covered that. Chip Painter, what's on your mind?
It's on my mind. Well, first thing is three things that are on my mind today.
Okay.
Okay, so let me touch on the first one. Today, February 22nd, 1980. This is a day that will live in history. This is a day that put Al Michaels on the broadcasting map.
Good job.
Was his catchphrase, "Do you believe in miracles?"
Yes.
Yes! And this is the day that the American hockey team in the 1980 Lake Placid Olympics beat the Russian juggernaut to not win the gold medal, to qualify for the gold medal game. And the Russians had been undefeated, and a bunch of American college amateurs beat Russia, headlined by Mark Johnson, Clark Gillies. What's the goaltender's name was Craig.
Yeah.
There was a laundry list of them. Mark Johnson ended up being the first round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers that year. Mark Johnson was the son of Badger Bob Johnson, who later became
Yeah.
the head coach
coach
of the
of-
Penguins
and
when
died,
they won their
yeah.
first Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So let's not forget about the Miracle on Ice.
I don't know where I was when that happened.
I
know
do.
everybody
I was
remembers.
watching it in my living
You
room.
were
I'm sure I
with
watched it.
Yarmer Yager having Kit Kats at a strip club.
I forgot to be born at that time.
First thing that was on my mind. Second thing on my mind.
What?
Congratulations to the United States Soccer Federation.
Yeah.
They settled their lawsuit with the women's national soccer team to guarantee them equal pay with the men's national soccer team. And it's about time that it's
Yeah.
happened, because if
victory
you
right
think about the accomplishments
Ryan,
of the women's
please shut Smoking
soccer
Jim's
team.
mic off.
Think about the accomplishments of the women's soccer
Chip, you're
team.
110%.
They have
right.
won world championships, and the men's soccer team doesn't even qualify for the World Cup.
Thank you.
So, yes, it is about time that they got equal pay. Congratulations to the
Yes.
United States Soccer
And
Federation.
shut his mic down for Smoking Jim. We don't want to hear
Last
it.
but
Yeah.
not least, shenanigans in NCAA basketball this past weekend. Okay? So we had a game, a Big Ten game with the Michigan Wolverines playing the Wisconsin Badgers. And at the end of the game, in the handshake line, words were exchanged. Tempers got heated. People got pushed. And Juwan Howard slapped one of Wisconsin's coaches upside the head. Now,
After he made a fist.
at first glance, when I saw this, my thoughts were fire Juwan Howard, throw him out of collegiate basketball.
Yes.
And after listening to his comments after the fact, where their passions were still relatively high,
Right.
that's exactly how I felt. I listened to what the president of the University of Michigan had to say Monday after the fact, and punishment was dealt. Juwan Howard was suspended for the remainder of the season, which is the final 5 games.
Good.
He will be able to coach the team in the tournament. He was fined $50,000. The coach from Wisconsin was fined $10,000. And Juwan Howard issued a statement apologizing for his behavior. And if you get the chance, read his statement. And after reading his statement, I believe the punishment fits the crime. I don't think any other actions need to be taken against anybody. He expressed true remorse. He was embarrassed by his actions. He embarrassed the University of Michigan, college basketball, everything that he's trying to teach his athletes on how to handle themselves on and off the court. And if you read his apology, it sounds sincere. I think the issue is over and done with, and it's time for them to move
Sound
forward.
like you're a little gullible on that.
Well, sounds like Smoking Jim, just to clarify before he speaks. He's the type of guy after a game, he would not shake the opposing team's hand. Win, lose, or draw, he would never shake their hand. So he can talk after Chip.
My father was a coach. If I would have ever done that, I would have never played another game.
Well, he doesn't know who his
What,
baseball
punch the-
coach was.
punch the guy?
No, if I wouldn't have shaken my opponent's hand after the game, I guarantee you I would have not played the next game.
Can I ask one question?
No, now you can, knowing how he is.
Now
Now you know how he is.
One question. Why was the coach for Wisconsin fined $10,000? That ain't right.
Well, because it takes 2 people to start an altercation. Never was one person 100% wrong, and never is another person 100%
the
right.
guy that got slapped or punched got fined, or was
No,
the
the
head
guy.
coach?
No, the head coach.
The head coach. Okay, now
The
I
head
understand.
coach.
Okay.
Because I don't want to get into the entire.
I thought it was the guy that got slapped upside the head.
Who for and what fors of the incident, but the head coach of each team.
Okay, I
Each
got
the guy that got hit in the head
he can afford it.
didn't get fined, but
Okay. I got it now.
I
Thanks.
do believe that the punishment did fit the crime. It's over. It's done with. Move on.
Thank you, Chip. We appreciate it. That was a bad assist by you, Smoking Jim. Bad assist.
It's all right.
Yeah, all right, okay. Just checking.
Hey, I can turn a foul ball into a home.
He doesn't know what a foul ball is in a game, but that's another story. Don't talk baseball. All right, Nick Callis, what's on your mind?
It's like, I'm like Clemente. They could be 5 feet out of the strike zone. I'll still hit it.
Yes, if Smoking Jim knew what a strike zone was, he would too.
But all right, so
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Well, first of all,
Try to focus after what we've had.
I'm trying.
Okay. Good luck.
So, if you check Smoking Jim's Facebook page, he put a profile picture up there without him in a hat, and I was just amazed. I've never seen the man's head before. So if you haven't either, before he changes it in 5 minutes now, go look at it.
I've seen it many times, and I ask one question. And here's the question. Chip and I both ask it.
What year?
Thank you.
Oh,
That's the problem.
it did look a little.
And just like the newspaper picture, and it's a black and white newspaper picture.
You're with a woman though, so I was also
So
curious.
do you
but-
know how old it had to be Did you know how old with the mohawk that he had?
It
Black
wasn't a
and-
mohawk.
But you notice how he crops out the date.
Yeah, I'm talking the newspaper thing, not the one with Esther Nunez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very nice lady. I met her one time at a Market Square bar, and she goes, "Where's Smoking Jim?" She goes, "Can you take a picture with me so I make him jealous?"
Who is
And she
this?
did. Esther.
She almost made me want to speak
Esther,
Spanish.
N-U-N-E-Z, Nunez. Yeah,
Oh boy.
yeah.
Uh,
We've
okay.
seen a few, and
So I was impressed. I was like,
Thank you, sir.
that's pretty unique. Doesn't happen very often. Sports related though, I'm thinking about Major League Baseball still, and it makes me sad. And the minor league players should be paid. We went over that last week. But all the events that have been going on right now in baseball and the continuing stubbornness of owners and baseball's reluctance to try to move forward and be better because of traditionalists in the past, it makes me upset that all of this is happening, and it's drawing me further away from the sport. I've noticed that since I stopped playing, have been losing appreciation for the sport because you've got more characters now in the game instead of people just, like playing and being, just the athletes as athletes, not so much like characters or $330 million people. Like, that's all not interesting. I think the dynamic of the game, too, with pitchers dominating, not great. And I know I've said it before, the pitchers are most skilled as they are today, but, I do agree with Chip to some extent. There's too much lack of offense going on. That's why I think there should be a DH, but that's still another story. That hasn't happened yet, and there were 3 separate times in history that it had tried to happen. Like, baseball's not evolving enough. There's too much apparatus with the people, and, baseball is trying to be something that it isn't in certain cases, and not
what are you
evolving.
talking about?
It's not evolving in the way, in good ways. So, it's on my mind. I'm being drawn away from it, especially with the situation. The players and the owners,
How about pushed away from it.
that too. I mean, the
Instead of
fact
being
that they're
drawn, because when you're drawn,
there's-
it feels like you're coming in.
the fact that the owners
Just a
though, like
little
even at that,
critique.
like the owners are so stubborn about their teams now that it's like the sport that is blatantly failing among other sports. Like soccer's catching up on baseball now. Soccer passed hockey. It's like crazy. So it's like, but they're not playing right now. The Major League Baseball is not in session, and they're struggling to keep the fans, and they're struggling to keep sports fans' attentions, and it's just terrible. And that's what's on my mind.
To speak to your point, and I waited patiently for you to finish.
Oh, did you?
I agree that it is saddening that baseball has not come to an agreement, and I think that there are 2 parties that are at fault here, the players and the owners. To point your finger at one and saying it's more their fault than the others, they're both equally at fault. They need to sit down and hammer out an agreement, whatever that agreement may be. To be honest with you, listening to what some of the issues are, we're not going to get into that here. They're missing the mark. Okay, they are totally missing the mark. They're arguing over table scraps instead of trying to fix what's wrong with the game. And to be honest with you, a business like Major League Baseball that's failing, that still makes over $10 billion a year, is not failing so badly.
It's good. Well, yeah, but how do they get me to not be pushed away anymore? That's the question here.
Well, and to be honest with you, I'm a baseball fan lifelong. Baseball's being played right now. The minor leagues, they're playing, they're training, they're developing. They're going to start playing games sometime soon. They're not getting paid very much. Okay, they're not going to get national exposure. And if the lockout continues, you'll watch.
But how do they stop pushing people my age away? That's the big question.
Well,
Why am I being pushed away? How do we fix
All
that?
they have to do is start playing games.
And that's what's on my mind.
Whoa.
Your interest will peak again when games are being played.
Glad we had a consensus there. Look that up, Smoking. What's on my mind is a little off from what I normally talk about, golf. I always admired Phil Mickelson. I thought he was a smart guy, competitive guy. He had a problem that Tiger Woods would beat him, and he got a lot of second place finishes, but he earned a lot of money and had respect on the tour. Then I heard due to money, he was going to start another league, golf league and go against the PGA. And I don't pay attention to that. But then when I heard it's from him and some other golfers were going to do it, I'm wondering what's going to happen. Well, these other golfers backed out, left them high and dry from what I heard. So they're not going to start another league. And then Rory McIlroy, who you've all heard about, nice, intelligent, golfer, good, talented guy. He came out and basically read the riot act. Phil Mickelson, you sounded old and stupid is the gist I got out of it. Like, what were you trying to do when we have a great PGA Tour? So this must be the week for heartfelt apologies. Mickelson's apology seemed very heartfelt, and he was apologizing for doing what he did.
Well, he was apologizing for taking tens of millions of dollars from the Arab billionaires because this was a golf league that was supposed to be based out of Dubai. And Dubai has got more money than they know what to do with.
Yes.
And they tried to lure some of the top people. And one of the most recent ones to turn them down was Dustin Johnson, who very recently was ranked number 1 in the world. I think he's ranked number 5 or number 6 right now. But they've all backed out, and they believe that the PGA Tour does have its problems, but it is a workable thing, and it's something that they can work out there. The difference is that the only problem, the difference between the PGA and Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NHL, the NBA, there's no players' union. If there was a players' union, there'd be a strike.
Good point, Chip. And Chuck McElroy said, "Love you guys, love you back, Chief."
Chief.
Oh.
I know him for over 30-some years from working at the Pittsburgh Press-Post-Gazette. Luckily, he just retired. I got out a little bit before him 11 years ago. And thanks for being a fan of our show. We're going to be back in 10 seconds because of the new graphics we have with Fiction and Fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac.
I tell you what, Al Levine, the
We
talking
can't
machine.
see him.
I've been saying this.
Oh, there he is.
I've been saying this for a long time. The Tyson Fury is the greatest heavyweight champion of all time, better than Rocky Marciano, better than Cassius Clay and Muhammad Ali. Al Levine, the talking machine. I'm gonna quickly rank the decades in order of the greatness of the heavyweight champions.
How many?
Huh?
What's the list? Top
It's just
what?
6. It's just 6.
Oh my goodness!
6
Number-
decades, 600 boxers.
Number 6 was the 90s. That Lennox Lewis and the Klitschko
Hold
brothers.
it, I
and
got to
Evander
stop.
Holyfield.
This is a first-time Pittsburgh Sportsline event that's never been done on Tuesday nights.
First time.
It's an under top 10 list,
Yes.
which under reservations, it could go to 10.
Let's find out.
Carry on.
Number 5 is the 80s with the Mike Tyson and Larry Holmes and Jerry Cooney. Number 4 is the 60s, my favorite. Sonny Liston, Cassius Clay, and let's not forget about the great Archibald Lee Wright. You guys may know him as Archie Moore. I call folks what the mama call him, Archibald.
What's your mama call you? Urkel. I heard she called him Urkel growing up.
Number 3 is the 2000s with both Klitschko brothers, Roy Jones Jr. and James Toney and John Ruiz.
You struggled on that.
Yeah.
Did you in the 80s? Did you have Larry Holmes in there?
No.
Larry Holmes in the 80s, yeah. Number 2. Right ahead of Jerry Cooney. Number 2 is a great decade for boxing, the 70s, with Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Larry Holmes, Jimmy Ellis, Jerry Quarry, my favorite, and Ernie Shavers.
Hold it. Time out again. He just told us he always goes by what their mama calls him. Muhammad Ali's mother never called him that.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble with Allah. So
What? What?
I don't
What?
understand.
I don't
Why
want
do you have an excuse on
I don't want to
that?
get in trouble with his guard.
You just said a minute before you
In
only.
the 60s, I called him Cassius Clay. In the to me, they're two different people. Cassius Clay fought different than Muhammad Ali.
But the question was, what does his mama call it?
Yeah, that's true. In the
Mickey,
greatest,
thank you so much. Yeah.
in the greatest decade, the greatest era in boxing history, you guys get on board, pay your pay-per-view, is today. You know, we got a Canadian-Russian that's unbelievable. Reminds me of a young George Foreman.
It's today.
We got a Frank Sanchez from Cuba. We got a real big baby Anderson out of Cincinnati. We got Anthony Joshua, number 3. Number 2 is the greatest heavyweight of all time, Tyson Fury. And number 1 is the most exciting heavyweight since Muhammad Ali. Remember this name. Is a black guy named Tony Yoka. Tony Yoka. Remember that name. He's a foreigner, but he's a black guy. This is the greatest era of heavyweight boxing of all time.
You mean where's he from?
He's from overseas, over the pond.
To pay tribute to some of the greatest heavyweights of all time.
Yes,
You know, you forgot to mention Jack Johnson,
that may be the
Joe
greatest.
Lewis,
That may be.
Joe Lewis, and Rocky Marciano,
Yeah.
who retired undefeated.
Yeah, but I only started in the 60s. I didn't want to go
Right,
back.
but I mean, you
in the
gotta
50s,
give them.
40s.
their-
Smoking
you're
Jim's
right. You're
exposed.
right. I agree with that.
You've been exposed.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Fiction
I
and
agree with
fact
Chip.
exposed.
Hold it. I got
I
to
agree
do
with
this
you.
other history. Chip, you may have, with what you did, since he said he only goes from the 60s, there's a good chance that's because he was born then.
Always,
We're moving on right now.
always
What
remember
evidence?
this.
We're
since-
moving on to
since
the
Chip-
next one.
since
That's
Chip-
it. Shut his mic off.
Since Chip
Shut
brought up
his
just
mic
one
off.
thing, Machine, always remember Walker Smith.
Shut
Walker
his
Smith
mic
is Sugar
down.
Ray Robinson's real name. Walker Smith.
I read books on him, and they loved him in France with his pink Cadillac.
Yes, sir.
Thousands came out.
Yes, sir.
Thousands.
Oh, welcome back, everybody, and my final tribute to Black History Month. I want to finish
Just
up
in
with,
time, Chip.
I typed in a search engine today. I wanted a list of the Negro League champions over the course. Found out some very interesting information. I pulled up this Wikipedia page and I printed off the whole thing. Found it some fascinating reading. Unfortunately, I could use up the last 20 minutes of the show going over this.
Whoa.
And I'd probably lose most of you about a minute and a half into it. So I'm gonna forgo that because I want these gentlemen to my right to have their moment. But
I was worried.
the Negro Leagues go back as far as 1867.
I didn't know that.
Okay, which is those were an area of amateur and semi-pro teams.
Wasn't that when baseball was founded professionally?
Yes, it was. Actually, it was.
So then
Cincinnati.
That was from
69.
1867 to 1891. That was the era of amateur and semi-pro teams. Next, from 1895 to 1919, was the era of independent barnstorming. And I'm not going to get too further into that. Then there was the era from 1920 to 1931, the first endeavor of organized play. Okay, and then we go into the 1932 to 1935, the second crisis and rebuilding. And then 1936 to 1948, the Negro League's glory years. So to break this down without boring people too much, I'm going to give a list of Negro League champions and the number of times they won championships. And this was whether they were earned or declared or if it was an unofficial championship. So leading the pack was the Chicago American Giants with 14 championships.
Wow.
All Negro?
Smoking Jim, did you miss the point of
That's a
Black
great
history?
question. No, that was a great question.
Now, did you see this right here?
Black History
Negro
Month.
League
No.
I never
champion.
heard of the Chicago Giants.
Smoking Jim, take a second and try not to focus on being silly.
I like the question.
Hold it. Chip already prefaced it with Black History, Negro
Black
Leagues.
History Month.
I thought it was
Negro Leagues.
I thought it was a good question.
Okay.
Wow. You two better quit hanging out.
Update
You
your
just
profile
lost
picture.
3/4 of your degree from Waynesburg.
Yeah. Update your profile picture with a hat. Okay. Next up, the Kansas City Monarchs. We've all heard of the Kansas
Yes,
City
sir.
Monarchs.
Even Smokin' did.
10 world championships, or 10 championships, followed by the Homestead Grays with 10 championships, followed by the Bacharach Giants with
Whoa.
6, the Hilldale Club with 6 championships, followed by the Philadelphia Giants
Look at Smokin' Jim.
and the
peeking.
New York Lincoln Giants. The Philadelphia Giants had 5, New York Lincoln Giants, the Cuban X-Giants, each with 4, the St. Louis Stars with 3, as well as the Pittsburgh Crawfords,
Oh, there
the
they go.
Birmingham Black Barons, the New York Gorhams, the New York Gorhams, 2 championships, Cuban Giants, Chicago Unions, Chicago Leland Giants, the Cuban Stars of Havana, and the Cleveland Buckeyes. And there's another list of teams that also had won single championships. So there are some very interesting things to learn about the history of the game of baseball.
Chip,
Baseball-
one question on there. When you mentioned the one Havana team from Cuba, the Stars, the other Cuban team, would that have been from Havana also?
Yes.
Okay. So they were traveling internationally in the Negro Leagues.
And they were bringing
And
in
with
enough-
foreigners, Smokin' Jim, they had foreigners
Well,
that they
see,
played.
and here's the thing. Back
Foreigners.
then, there was no such thing as TV contracts.
Right.
They were bringing in enough money at the gate to be able to afford to travel and cover the expenses of the teams.
Sure.
So, this was back. Now, baseball's been
But they
around.
traveled by bus normally. I'm not going to be silly, but what bus can go to Cuba?
Baseball has been around for 150 years.
Gotcha.
Okay, basically it's the same game that's been played starting in the 1860s that's being played now.
Right.
Okay, and the history of baseball. If you want to really have an appreciation for the game,
Yes.
read about the history. Google Negro League champions, and then go to the Wikipedia page and pull that off. Fascinating read. I'm going to hand this one to Alan because he'll actually read it.
Yes. Thank you.
I tell you what, them colors really like to be called giants, didn't they? There's about 10 giants.
The one nice thing about Smokin' Jim, he's only as good as the last person talking.
Ouchie.
That's my BFF. I know who he is. Thank you. I was waiting for you. And Smokin' Jim, Bill Means said, what about Lou Bizarro was a boxer from Erie that fought Duran?
It was tough.
You didn't mention him.
Well, only
not a heavyweight.
Just heavyweight.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
He was
That's a
talking
technicality,
heavyweights.
Bill.
Yeah, I like heavyweight.
And then thanks for Victor Olive watching the show. Victor,
Yes.
nice to see you.
Yes,
We miss you.
my man.
We miss you. Take
Hey,
care.
Great linebacker for Peabody High School, fullback.
And
Fullback
then
for
Jim
Peabody.
Ellerbogen said, Smokin' Jim, pound for pound, Sugar Ray Robinson.
Yes.
And again, he's not a heavyweight.
Yes.
He was-
Walker
he-
Smith
he
is
was-
his,
I know.
He was a
his
middleweight.
government name.
Chip got the technicalities, you guys. but
People coming to your defense.
Thank you. Yes, I love it.
I knew we could finally get Chip to help Smokin' out when his list was truly under 10. All right, we're moving on from Chip and whatever nonsense is coming from that far side.
Do me a quick favor, people watching on Facebook. Give me a comment. I'm trying to convince Smokin' Jim to play me in Wii Sports Baseball just to prove his skill. So if you want to watch that happen in a Pittsburgh Sportsline short, comment right now and tell us whether you want it or not.
Here's what I'll tell you. If he agrees to do it, we'll get the Anthonys and Ryan to film it after a Pittsburgh Sportsline show like this.
I just want to see if you're interested. So if you're interested in watching that, comment below.
Yeah, but you're going to have to do it while he's on a Zoom call.
Oh, we forgot. He's now.
Money, 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 money.
Let me explain the money. Smokin' Jim had $60,000 last summer. Now he has $37,000. So with a Bitcoin that's a fraction, he only lost $23,000 on his trip to becoming a millionaire. And all of you
That's
know,
like 25 loan payments.
yeah,
for it.
and
That's like-
all of you out there that have invested in the stocks or bonds or even have an account in the bank know when you start with a certain amount and you have less, you're not really going to make a
Kind
million.
of like when he started out with Bitcoin.
Yeah. Amen. All right.
All right, the opinion part of this segment.
Yes.
So, the Brian Flores hire. I was at the Fan, and we had an inside guy that broke the story nationally. So,
One
hooray to the
question.
Fan. What's that?
One question. If they're inside guys, do they talk
I
about...
can't- I
No,
can't-
no, wait. The question is, I'm going to build up to it a little. When they say they're an inside guy and teams talk about things in advance, wouldn't the inside guy be privy to what they talked in advance?
That's true. I don't know.
Why didn't that happen?
See, and
but
being the
I
first
rest my
station to
case.
announce it, he announced it after the fact, which kind of loses some of its
Thanks,
luster.
Chip.
I can't control those people. I just work at a radio station. Anyway, we got
Job well done.
we got the information from our inside guy who broke the story.
Late.
That's fun. But as I can tell you that I walked in for my shift and the host was like, Nick, we got breaking news. Brian Flores got hired. And I'm like, holy cow, that's awesome. This is great. And then I'm thinking, that is one of the greatest coaching decisions the Steelers have made in a long time. And that's my opinion. I like it. Now, as
Explain why
Since
you
they
do.
hired Mike-
Explain why you do.
as I was talking about
Right?
as I talked about last week, you can't control what the owners do and who the owners hire. I thought Brian Flores was a good coach. I thought he shouldn't have been rid of as quickly as he was with the Dolphins. But here's the magic of what the other owners can do.
I'd have fired him.
If I don't know, that's his opinion. My opinion is Flores is a good coach, and now the Pittsburgh team and the Steelers has his mind, his defensive mind, to make the team better. And since I thought he was a good coach, I think him coming to the Steelers makes the Steelers better. He seems to have the wealth of knowledge, especially on the defensive side, to maybe bolster the entire defense. I know Smoking Jim and Al talked about T.J. Watt, and that was a discussion.
I have one more thing to talk about when you're done.
Okay, but yeah, so I mean, regardless of individual players, I think the defensive scheme will improve because the defense minus T.J. Watt was a little shaky last year, so and worn out too because the offense was
and
poor.
I-
There were a lot of things that were poor about the team. It's a miracle they even made the playoffs. I admitted that, but anyway, I think Flores is a good hire. I think he's going to bring the good stuff to the table. And when I got the breaking news when I walked into the Fan, I was very excited, and I think it's going to help the Steelers.
I'm
next year.
happy
That's
for you.
my-
Go ahead,
But
Chip.
to be honest with you, I think the hiring of Brian Flores just kind of cements in my mind that the Steelers would be wasting a draft pick in this year's draft on a quarterback.
Whoa, you heard it here first.
Quarterback being drafted. Hooray!
No, it
No,
would be
no.
a
Oh,
waste.
they're not going to draft a quarterback.
No, they
You're
need-
getting like
they-
Smoking Jim 100%.
They need to rebuild
We
the
don't hear it.
offensive line. They need to reload the defense. They don't need a quarterback.
Now I'm sad. That doesn't matter.
I'm with
It's
you,
okay.
Nick. I'm
It's
with
okay.
you. Get a
It's-
quarterback.
It's okay.
Why? There isn't a quarterback worth taking in this year's draft.
I gotta.
Kenny
gotta-
Pickett.
Not at number 20.
I got a point
He's
to
not
you
gonna be
before you
there.
go there. It took him 6 years to become great. I don't want to wait 6 years in the NFL.
Greatness takes time.
No, but I don't want it to happen. in
Smoking
the
Jim
NFL.
knows that. Greatness takes time.
Well, he was, and
But
I'll
no-
look at him. No offense meant. I'm just saying. Here's the point I want to make to you. NFL reporters reported that Mike Tomlin had been calling the defensive plays. Then Keith Butler, he was the defensive coordinator, let that happen. Then he said the last 2 years, Tomlin called the plays. So we got an ex-head coach that knows defense. He's an assistant linebacker and safety coach. And the guy, Austin's going to be the defensive coordinator who's going to acquiesce, look that up in the A words, towards Mike Tomlin to call all the plays.
Good point.
So how is the input of a great coach and assistant coach going to filter through what Tomlin controls right now? And it's been proven. I'm not a Tomlin hater. I actually think he's one of the best black coaches and has the greatest winning record. But if you're taking control like you have the last 10 years and not letting anybody else do stuff, then why?
Maybe after this season he had a change of heart, or maybe management was like, "Hey, back down."
Your speculation's not backed on any facts.
You're
but
right,
we'll see
but
what
that's why
happens.
this segment's about opinions.
Mine's based on facts.
Well,
Who's to
I got
say-
the facts.
Alan, who's to say how they're going to do anything this year? It is all 100% speculation. Now that they have a conglomeration of very smart defensive people, and if they were to not utilize each of their talents to the best of their ability, so we'll see what's going to happen
No,
with
that's
this
my
year's
point
defense.
to this. We already have a record for the last 4 or 5 years that Tomlin's been doing this.
And what has that done for us? And no
made the
Super Bowl.
playoffs at 9-7-1.
Yeah, and that's, you know what? How many teams didn't?
The other
Well,
20
the
that
other-
didn't.
The other 18 or 19 teams that didn't make the playoffs. So think about that for a minute when you laugh about them making the playoffs, because there's 19 other cities that wish they had.
Thank you, Chip. Thank you. And I'm so happy for you walking into a situation with breaking news, because you got a degree that Smoking Jim doesn't believe after you showed him.
I don't.
And broadcasting journalism, and you showed it to him. You actually worked with a group that's either a nonprofit or profit, which I don't agree with how they operate, but you worked with them longer than anybody I ever heard of and got paid. So I won't mention the name because it's so ridiculous. So these are all good things that you're witnessing. And when did you graduate?
9 months ago.
So in 9 months, look what you've already witnessed. And you're a respected co-host on Pittsburgh Sportsline, even though you're becoming like Smoking Jim's protege. You don't listen. You start cheering about stuff that isn't even happening. And then you're pointing fingers to emulate me when you're sitting right in front of me.
Oh, I still got sense, though.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay. We'll move on, Ryan. Sorry for the delay. Love the graphic, but I just can't believe what happened. The guy's been here over a year and a half, would never talk in the studio. Just told him tonight he could, and somehow A1 spoke. It's a record day.
Magic twos. It's Tuesday, folks.
It's a record day. 2, whatever it is. On location. We're going March 5th. Mark your calendars. 416 Lincoln Avenue, Millvale Community Center with Ray Schaefer Boxing Club. Jose Carabella is the owner, trainer, does great work. And he's having golden gloves starting at 7:30. I'll be there about 6 o'clock. Smoking Jim will be there 7:27. And when we tell him that there's parking out front, he comes so late that he has to walk 4 blocks to get in the door. And that's a fact. These are facts that I speak.
Yeah, he gets there an hour early, and it has to park so far away, it takes him an hour to make it there.
I would think
Because
so.
he's got that walk down pat.
And the best is when we were at the American Legion, and there's no parking around it, and we had 3 spots out front. Steve with the camera, me there, and we're all looking for Smoking Jim. I had a dozen people go, "Can I park there?" They even said from Ray Schaefer, "No, you can't park there, Smoking Jim." Finally, I said, "He's not coming," and he walked there. He goes, "Wow, I had a walk." So that's our on location. We're going to do a series of shows and boxing there in Millvale and Sharpsburg. Yes, sir.
So Bill Means said on Facebook Live, "We won it, Nick. You and me playing baseball on the Wii." Yeah.
Okay.
So we got a vote from Bill Means.
And shout out to Keith down in Nashville. Thanks for Pete tuning in to watch us. We appreciate you guys. And anybody I can't see on here, whether you made a comment or not, we appreciate Facebook Live. Special thanks to Nick. We talked about it for years. He made it happen. Just like with that group that doesn't want to pay him, he boosted them up like so
They got
much.
they got a journalism degree though, somebody from 1971. So no, it's all good. I mean, who could beat the 70s?
One
Technology.
question. I know. I graduated in the 70s. But did he ever use it? That's the
You know,
question.
reels and physical things and blades. Yeah, good times.
He never used it. Thank you. We're going to come back, or if we have a graphic for Penguins, let's talk some quick Penguins here. All right, Penguins, been a surprising year with how they've been in first place and had a few losses now. People are getting down on the Penguins.
Well, here's what the thing is. The Pens fattened up their record on some of the lower hanging fruit. Let's just put it that way. The Penguins are going to be playing quite a number of games against some of the better teams, especially in their division. They played one the other day against the Carolina Hurricanes, and they came up a little bit short.
Yeah.
The Hurricanes are leading the Metropolitan Division with 74 points. Penguins are in second place with 70. Directly behind them with 69 are the Rangers, followed by the Capitals with 65. And if you look at the other eastern part of the Eastern Conference, you've got the Florida Panthers with 75 points, followed by the two-time defending champions, Stanley Cup champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning with 70, the Toronto Maple Leafs that the Penguins lost to,
Yeah.
and then, of course, the Bruins are always there with 62 points. So, the work's cut out for the Penguins.
Right.
Some of the things that they were getting away with when they were playing some of the lesser teams, they're not going to be able to get away with now.
And we knew this would happen, Chip.
So, the Penguins got to tighten up their game again. Jari has been incredible. Casey DeSmith has been hot and cold.
Yeah,
Have a couple of good games, and then he'll
have a clunker.
lay an egg.
Yeah.
And, the Penguins got some work to do. I do believe that they're absolutely going to qualify for the playoffs this year. And I think they've got the legs to maybe make somewhat of a run. But there's a lot of good teams in the Eastern Conference this year. It's going to be hard for them to overcome all of them.
Well,
Tampa's just stacked.
No, they are. And I'm so proud of the Penguins using the system that Sully taught them to do and play it to perfection. And Jari, who I was disappointed like all of you and Chip and everybody else, showed me that whatever the new Penguin goalie coach has taught him and what he's practiced, he's more outside of the net.
Well, and here's the thing. When we went into the playoffs last year, we had our backup goaltender was injured and could not play.
Right.
Jari was not used to being the workhorse to have to work that many games in a row, and he was playing injured. Of course, they don't say anything about it because if you mention something about him being injured, the other team's going to attack his weaknesses.
Sure.
They're going to go after him, and they're going to run the goaltender.
Right.
So, Jari got a chance to heal up, and he's shown what kind of a goaltender he could be. Now, do the Penguins need to trade for a veteran backup?
I think
who,
so.
To give them a better chance, because one guy can't play all those games and expect to be on top of his game. Trying to win the Stanley Cup, I think it's the hardest accomplishment in all of professional sports.
It is. 16 games you got to get, so it's tough.
4 7-game series.
Yes, no doubt about it.
February hasn't been kind to the Penguins.
Thank you, Smoking Jim.
What
We appreciate your hockey non-analysis again. Thank all of you for watching. We appreciate you. We're running out of time. A1's getting a little nervous on camera. He's used to seeing the timer. His timer's not coordinated with ours. We got 11 seconds to go. So I
Vote
hope
We Sports Baseball.
it's not going to happen. Please stay Joey strong.